Ladies and gentlemen, buckle up because what just came out of Minnesota might be the biggest political detonation since Watergate. I'm talking about audio evidence, DHS leaks, and names that go straight to the top. Keith Ellison, Ilhan Omar, and Omar Fateh, all tied together in what investigators are now calling a political protection racket disguised as a political service. Now, you might remember the Feeding Our Future scandal. You guys remember that? Drop a yes if you do. This was the $250 million COVID food program that turned into be one of the largest fraud cases in U.S. history. Yeah, well, guess what? It just blew wide open. We now have sources saying Ellison was caught on tape and that the Department of Homeland Security under President Donald Trump now has proof tying high-ranking Minnesota Democrats to the same network that stole millions in taxpayer money that was meant for hungry children. Now, here's the kicker. Ilhan Omar's name keeps popping up inside those DHS files. Why do you think that is, guys? People very close to the investigation are calling it Feeding Our Future Part 2. So before the media spins this or tries to bury it under the rug, we're going to go ahead and lay out exactly what was caught, who was panicking, and how deep this Minnesota machine really goes. So stay locked in because by the end of this video, you're going to understand exactly why this story could shake the entire Democrat establishment to its core. Hit the like button, subscribe, guys. All right, so let's go ahead and start where this whole thing began, the so-called Feeding Our Future program. Now, on paper, it was supposed to be a beautiful idea. Feed hungry kids during COVID, simple, compassionate. This is the kind of thing that every American would support, right? But in reality, it actually became one of the largest fraud operations in the entire nation. So right under the nose of Minnesota's Democratic leadership, all of this was happening. We're talking about hundreds of millions of dollars, money meant for children, diverted into luxury homes, exotic cars, and private businesses. Over 70 people charged, dozens convicted, and prosecutors say that the number could keep climbing. So this wasn't just some small-time scam. It was a full-blown criminal network. This was enabled by state agencies that either looked the other way or they played along. Now, here's what's really crazy. The evidence trail, it doesn't stop at the street level. In fact, federal investigators, they have tied the paper trail all the way back to some political donors, nonprofits, and local officials who were supposed to be the watchdogs. So the deeper that they dig, the more fingerprints that they're finding on the inside. And now, under President Trump's administration, the Justice Department, this case is back in the national spotlight. Why? Because DHS and the FBI, they're reopening the political connections, the ones that could lead straight to names like Keith Ellison and Ilhan Omar. Now, one of the key players in this scandal is Abdulwahab Muhammad. This is the man that prosecutors are saying built an empire out of lies. They call him the chief document fabricator. Why? Because he literally invented children out of thin air in order to collect millions in taxpayer money. Investigators say Muhammad used a random name generator, listofrandomnames.com of all things, to fill in spreadsheets and with thousands of fake kids. Fake kids, guys. Then he allegedly filed reports claiming that he was feeding over 5,000 children every single day during lockdowns. That's right, guys. 5,000 imaginary mouths. But it doesn't stop there. Muhammad allegedly laundered those same stolen funds through shell companies and fake catering operations, even using the fraud money to buy a commercial building on East Lake Street. Then he allegedly threw a celebration inside the same building, complete with local politicians and city council members attending. The arrogance here is completely off the charts. It's unreal. They were celebrating theft like it was some community outreach. And get this, guys, Muhammad didn't just allegedly fabricate the paperwork. He allegedly used federal COVID relief grants and state daycare subsidies to expand the scam, all while staying on the government payroll. So this wasn't one bad actor. This was a culture of corruption. And when Trump's DHS started connecting the dots, that is when the panic set in across Minnesota's political class. So now, if you thought that stealing millions in taxpayer money was bad enough, wait until you hear how far these people were willing to go to protect the lie. Prosecutors say Abdulwahab Muhammad didn't just commit fraud. He tried to silence witnesses and bribe jurors to keep the whole operation buried. Picture this, okay? A key witness sitting on a bench at the Mall of America. Muhammad walks up, standing over her, and calls her a snitch. He allegedly threatens her, demands that she stays quiet before the trial. That's not just intimidation. That is the mafia playbook being used inside of Minnesota's justice system. And this wasn't an isolated case. You remember last year's bombshell? A juror's home received a bag containing $120,000 in cash dropped off by an unknown woman? That's not fiction. That actually happened during one of the Feeding Our Future trials. Prosecutors called it something out of a mob movie, and they weren't exaggerating. In fact, 5 people have since been convicted in connection with that bribe attempt, and yet the question remains, who is really behind it? Who had the motive and the power to buy silence at that level, right? Because the answer might lead straight into the halls of Minnesota's political elite. Now, it's happening in neighborhoods everywhere right now. One neighbor says, I called Chapter and I saved money on my Medicare plan. Another one says, they helped me keep my doctor. Word spreads, and before long, the whole block knows. This is why I partnered with Chapter, guys. They've built a reputation that people can't stop talking about when it comes to Medicare. So let me ask you, do you want to be the last house on your street to make the call? Or are you going to do what most people already are doing and dialing that phone number at the bottom of your screen right there? Now, if they're not doing that, they're visiting askchapter.org/Ron. That phone number again is 909-563-8279. And here's where the fuse really meets the dynamite. Remember that now viral tape Keith Ellison caught on recording talking to people connected with the very same organizations that are now under federal indictment? Well, that clip, uncovered by the Center of American Experiment, now shows Minnesota's Attorney General allegedly sympathizing with people who were already under suspicion for massive fraud. Now, the GOP Oversight Committee, they want answers. Why did Ellison meet with individuals that are linked to Feeding Our Future? Why was the top law enforcement officer in the state mingling with the suspects instead of investigating them? Then, of course, there's Omar Fateh, the Minneapolis state senator running for mayor, whose DFL endorsement was revoked over irregularities, yet his campaign continued to send out mailers and yard signs claiming party support. Well, the DFL calls it a printing error. Yeah, right. A likely story, right? Because printing thousands of fake mailers right after your endorsement is revoked is just a mix-up, right? Yeah, Meanwhile, Ellison, Fateh, and Omar all share overlapping networks of donors, delegates, and nonprofits. This is exactly what's raising red flags inside of DHS, because when financial trails, political favors, and fraudulent nonprofits start intersecting, what you have is not mismanagement. What you have is a machine, a coordinated, multi-layered machine built on deception and power. And so now the name that everyone's whispering about finally steps into the spotlight. Ilhan Omar, or Ilhan Omar. I don't know how you pronounce it, but for years, rumors have swirled that she may have helped a family member obtain U.S. residency through a fraudulent marriage. You may have heard about that. Anybody hear about Ilhan Omar's brother, right? So every time the question comes up, the media screams conspiracy theory and then moves on. But now Homeland Security sources, they're saying that they have proof. So according to multiple insiders, DHS investigators under President Donald Trump's new directive to reopen politically shielded cases have uncovered documents that are linking Omar to irregular immigration filings dating all the way back nearly 15 years. Now, the phrase one official used, demonstrable evidence. So here's the connection that everyone's missing. Most people don't even realize that several nonprofits that are tied to the Feeding Our Future network also share donors and directors who have supported Omar's campaigns and local initiatives. So this is why this particular leak matters. It's not just about one alleged marriage. It is about how political power, money, and influence protect each other inside of Minnesota's ruling class. I mean, we're watching the financial system turn on its head. President Donald J. Trump is pushing America back towards strength. Tariffs are reshaping the global trade. And right in the middle of all of this, a new chapter for Dogecoin is opening that no one even saw coming. Now, today's video is sponsored by CleanCore. House of Doge is now trading on the NASDAQ under ticker symbol TBH. And trust me, this is one that you're going to want to hear all the way through. Now, for years, people laughed at Dogecoin. Just a meme coin is what they said, right? But here's the truth. Dogecoin has outlived the skeptics, built one of the largest communities in crypto, and today stands a top 6 digital asset with over $30 billion in market cap and billions traded every month. Now, Wall Street, Main Street, and even, yes, Trump supporters across the country, they're watching as Dogecoin makes the leap from internet culture to institutional adoption. So who is House of Doge? Simply put, it's the official commercial partner working alongside the Dogecoin Foundation. Now, their mission is to bring real-world utility to Dogecoin, making it easy to spend as swiping a debit card or tapping Apple Pay. House of Doge is also tightly connected with CleanCore Solutions, the group building the official Dogecoin treasury. Their leadership is no joke. Alex Spiro, Elon Musk's lawyer, lawyer, serves as chairman, while Marco Margiotto, who scaled Payfair into a fintech powerhouse, later acquired by Fortune 500 giant Fiserv, is now steering House of Doge as CEO. Now, let me be clear. This is not hype. This is sponsorship disclosure, folks. House of Doge is a paid sponsor of today's video, but I agreed to take this on because the vision here is genuinely historic. Now, here's what we know for sure. CleanCore, working in tandem with House of Doge, raised $175 million in a private placement backed by Pantera, Falcon X, GSR, and others. The Treasury is actively acquiring Doge with the stated target of scaling toward 1 billion tokens. Custody is being managed through regulated infrastructure, bringing a level of transparency and compliance that Wall Street standards and Wall Street completely understands. These are the hard facts reported publicly, and they are setting the stage for something bigger. Now, let's go ahead and talk about what could be coming next. And I'm going to go ahead and stress this. This is forward looking. It's not a guarantee. House of Doge and its partners are exploring merchant integrations, tokenization platforms, even staking like products that could turn Dogecoin into more than a reserve asset. Now, imagine this. Doge payments at global merchants, Doge as the core of cross-border transfers, Doge powering brand sponsorships and cultural tie-ins. I mean, if even part of this vision comes to life, it would mark one of the most dramatic shifts that we've seen in digital finance. And in Trump's America, where, we're putting people first, we're cutting red tape and demanding accountability from Wall Street, you better believe that this is the perfect environment for Dogecoin's next chapter. Now, Dogecoin's slogan has always been, do only good every day. Wow, okay, do only good every day. I can get down with that, right? That's not just clever branding. This is a community ethos. Millions of holders, fans, and creators worldwide have kept this coin alive for over a decade. Think about that. And so now, with House of Doge and CleanCore bringing institutional credibility to the scene, we're seeing culture and Wall Street finally collide. Just like President Trump showed us that outsiders could take on the establishment and win, Dogecoin is proving that what starts as a joke can end up rewriting the rules. So here's the bottom line. House of Doge, ticker symbol TBH on the NASDAQ, is positioning itself as the commercial engine behind Dogecoin's evolution. They've got leadership, capital, and a community unlike anything else in crypto. But, and of course, this is important, nothing here is a guarantee. I'm not your financial advisor. This video is for informational purposes only. Some of what I've shared includes forward-looking statements and results may differ. Always do your own research and talk to a licensed advisor before making any investment decisions. With that said, folks, from tariffs to treasury moves, from Wall Street to Washington, D.C., the game is changing fast. And just like President Trump isn't backing down, Dogecoin isn't either. Now, imagine this. If DHS moves forward with a formal review or a referral to justice, it won't just be embarrassing, it'll be historic. Because for the first time, a sitting member of Congress could face direct scrutiny under a Trump-era Department of Homeland Security that's determined to clean house. And so most people don't realize that this is exactly why Washington is buzzing right now. Within hours of that tape surfacing, GOP lawmakers demanded that Keith Ellison appear before a new state fraud oversight hearing. The line of questioning, oh, it was brutal. What did you know? When did you know it? And why didn't you act? House Republicans argue that Ellison's meetings with Feeding Our Future affiliates were not innocent outreach. They were damage control. They want phone records, they want visitor logs, and they want every internal memo between the Attorney General's office and DHS. Oh, they're going in, folks. Because if Ellison knew that federal agencies were circling, it means the state was coordinating its defense before the subpoenas even dropped. Meanwhile, conservative outlets are running nonstop segments on what they're calling Minnesota Gate. Now, here's what's wild. Even some local Democrats are breaking ranks, privately admitting this scandal is radioactive. You can almost feel the panic from Minneapolis to DC. Press secretaries dodging calls, party spokespeople releasing half sentences, and Ellison himself refusing interviews. All while President Trump's Justice Department quietly reviews the DHS leak to determine whether criminal referrals are warranted. This is no longer a state-level embarrassment. This is becoming a national case study in political corruption. Now, I want to talk about the part that's really sending chills down your spine, the cover-up, okay? Because after months of court filings, sealed documents, and no comment statements, it's starting to look like people inside the system knew exactly what was happening. Now think about it. You don't move hundreds of millions of dollars through fake nonprofits, falsified names, and state grant approvals without someone at the top waving it through. Now, whistleblowers say warnings were sent to the Department of Education, to Ellison's office, even to the governor's staff, and yet the fraud it went on for years. Why? Because the same people who were supposed to guard the taxpayer money, they were politically connected to the beneficiaries. Now, we've got recordings, leaked emails, and DHS insiders all pointing in one direction, folks. This is a wall of silence meant to shield political allies at any costs. And most people don't realize what really terrifies the establishment. If those internal DHS documents on Ilhan Omar or Keith Ellison ever go public, they won't just show corruption in Minnesota. They'll expose how deep the rot runs across the entire Democratic machine. This is why the media is silent. This is why you're hearing crickets from CNN and MSNBC, because the truth doesn't fit their script. So where does this go from here? Well, buckle up, guys, because the next few weeks could be absolutely explosive. First, watch the upcoming House Oversight Committee hearings where GOP investigators are calling for subpoenas on both Ellison and Omar Fateh. DHS whistleblowers are expected to testify behind closed doors, and insiders are saying that the documents in their possession could finally connect the dots between the Feeding Our Future network and key Minnesota politicians. Then, of course, there's the question of Ilhan Omar or Ilhan Omar. Multiple sources are confirming already that the Trump's administration's DHS is weighing whether to publicly confirm the existence of evidence related to her case. Now, if that happens, I can tell you right now, the fallout could be global. Think about it. One of the most controversial members of Congress, Ilhan Omar, tied to a scandal involving immigration fraud, campaign donors, and a multi-million-dollar state crime ring. Many people are already asking, how did she come up with so much money? She went from having a very minimal net worth to being worth approximately in the ballpark of $30 million all of a sudden. Guys, the story isn't dying. In fact, it is only the beginning, and when it breaks wide open, it won't just take down individuals, it will expose the culture of corruption as we know it that has been defining Minnesota politics for decades. And folks, let's be real, this isn't just about Minnesota anymore. It's way bigger than that. This is what happens when power goes unchecked, when career politicians hide behind activism, and when the media pretends not to see the smoke because, well, they know that the fire leads straight to the side of their aisle. Their side. And for years, most people don't even realize that we've watched the same pattern happen time and time again. Scandal, denial, distraction, then silence. But not this time. Not under President Trump's America. The agencies that were once weaponized to protect the elites, they're now being turned back on them. And so if the Department of Homeland Security really has the proof that it claims it has, if these recordings, emails, and witness statements ever see the light of day, I can tell you right now, it is game over. Keith Ellison, Ilhan Omar, Omar Fateh, the Minnesota machine that they've spent years building walls of deception with, truth has a way of knocking those walls down brick by brick. Most people don't realize that this is only the beginning. Stay alert, stay informed, and keep your eyes on Minnesota because this storm is far from over. Like, subscribe, share this video everywhere, and I'll see you on the next one. Be safe.